The battlefield was quiet. Broken ships floated in space like dead metal beasts. Smoke drifted through the black void. Flames flickered from shattered cruisers. This place had been the center of the last great war, a war that had lasted over 100 years. Millions had died. Entire planets were burned to ash. But now, the guns were silent. Commander Alec of the Varn Dominion stood on the bridge of his ship, watching the screen. His eyes were sharp, his face calm, but inside, he was tired. The war was finally over. The enemy had surrendered. Peace had come at last. "Status report," Alex said, his voice low. "Cleanup crews are recovering debris," his second-in-command replied. "No signs of enemy survivors. All fleets report the same." "It's done, Commander." Lick nodded. Done. The word felt strange. He had spent most of his life fighting. Without war, who was he? He turned back to the screen. Across the stars, the wreckage of battle drifted. Alien ships, some Vaughn, some of the old Coalition, all lay broken, their power gone. Somewhere out there were the bodies of soldiers, heroes, enemies. He pressed a button and sent a message to the fleet. "Stand down, the war is over. Return to base." His crew cheered quietly, not loud, not wild, just tired relief. They had survived. They would go home. But then something strange appeared on the screen. A small new contact. The technician said, frowning, "Unregistered vessel, not Varn, not Coalition, no ID signature." Alec leaned forward. "Location. 7. Just outside the wreck field. It wasn't there before." Alec narrowed his eyes. It could be a scavenger. "A pirate. Send a warning." They sent the signal. The small ship didn't reply. It didn't move. It just floated, still quiet, watching another minute pass. Then 2, then 5. "Scan it," Alex said, trying. Something's wrong. "I can't get a read. It's like the ship is blocking us." "But there's no shield, no energy field." "What do you mean blocking us with nothing?" "I don't know. It's just blank." A cold feeling crept up Alec's spine. He had seen strange tech during the war, cloaks, jammers, cloaking fields, but this was different. This ship wasn't hiding. It was invisible without being invisible. "Send a drone?" The drone launched. A small metal sphere with cameras and scanners. It flew toward the unknown ship. As it got closer, the screens flickered. The drone disappeared. No explosion. No warning. Just gone. Drone signal lost. Everyone on the bridge went silent. What just happened? Don't. "No." Alex stood straighter. "Is it a trap? No other ships detected? Just the one? Send a squad." "I want answers." Within minutes, a boarding team was ready. A shuttle launched from the hangar and flew toward the unknown vessel. Cameras from the shuttle streamed back to the Varn command ship. Crew watched as the strange ship grew closer on the screen. It was smooth. Black metal. No markings. No windows. No engines. But somehow it floated perfectly still. The boarding team docked. "Entering now," the team leader said. They opened the hatch and stepped inside. Nothing. No lights. No sound. No gravity. "It's empty," the soldier said. "No signs of life. No tech. Just walls. Smooth metal. Like the ship was made from one piece." "Any doors?" "Just one? Ahead of us?" The team moved slowly, lights flashing across the walls. The corridor felt strange to quiet, like it wasn't really a ship but a tomb. The door opened. They stepped inside. Then the feed cut out, no sound. No picture. It's black dot. The screen on the Varn bridge went dark. Signal lost. Alec clenched his fists. "Bring them back. We're trying." No response. No data. Then the strange ship moved. Just a little. Barely noticeable. It turned. Not fast. Not threatening. But it turned, aiming directly at the Varn flagship. And then it vanished. It didn't jump to hyperspace. It didn't cloak. It just wasn't there anymore. Gasps filled the bridge. "What is this?" Alec asked, voice tight. No one had answers. The wreck field was still there. The war was still over, but something else had begun. Later that day, the salvage crew entered one of the damaged Varn cruisers. It had gone dark hours before, drifting through the wreck field without power. When the team reached the bridge, they found something carved into the wall. Just one word: observe. That night, Commander Alex sat alone in his quarters. Replayed the footage again and again. The ship, the silence, the word observe, a warning, a message, or something worse. He opened a secure channel, one used only in the most extreme emergencies. "High Command," he said. "We have a new threat." "On!" The other side, a voice replied. "Who?" Alex stared at the screen. "I don't know. But they're human." There was silence. Then the voice said what Alec feared most. "Commander, humanity was never part of this war." "I know," he replied, "but they are now." Outside the window, the stars seemed a little darker, and somewhere out in the void, a ship that shouldn't exist drifted through the cold silence, watching, waiting. Humanity had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same. The Varn cruiser floated silently above a dead moon, surrounded by 2 escort ships in a deep cloud of uncertainty. Commander Alex stood in the dim light of the bridge. Watching the screen, the human ship that appeared during the cleanup operation had vanished days ago. The boarding team never returned. No bodies, no answers. Just one word left behind. Observed. High Command had responded quickly. They sent data collectors, spy probes, experts. All of them had the same result. Nothing. The ship had left no signal, no trace, no energy signature. It was as if it had never existed. But Alec knew better. Then another signal came. "Commander," the communications officer said, "you need to see this." Alex stepped forward. A new report appeared on the screen. An unmanned patrol ship found a station, orbiting a rogue planet on the edge of Sector 19. It doesn't match any known design. No lights, no heat signatures. But the station sent a message. Alex stared at the officer. "What message?" The officer swallowed. It said, "We are still watching." There was silence on the bridge. A source of the message? Unknown. Signal bounced through 5 abandoned relay points. Someone planned it. They wanted us to hear it, but not find them. "Send a recon team," Alec ordered. "Already gone, but they haven't checked in." Of course they hadn't. A pattern was forming. Another screen blinked. A science officer waved Alec over. "Sir, we've analyzed the message structure. There's something strange." "Strange how?" "It's not just a warning, it's a test. There's a data stream hidden in the signal, encoded, almost like ancient Varn speech, but twisted, almost human, almost something's off. It's like a mimic, like someone trying to sound human, but getting it wrong on purpose." Alec folded his arms. "Have we made official contact with Earth?" "No," the officer replied. "Humanity isolated itself after the expansion ban. They haven't spoken to the Galactic Council in 27 years. The commander turned to his navigator, set a course. "We're going to Earth." The crew looked up in surprise. "But, sir, Earth's a restricted zone. It's time we find out what the humans are really doing." The flagship turned engines, flaring, and left the wreck field behind. A few days later, the ship dropped out of hyperspace near the Sol system. Earth hung in the distance, blue and green, peaceful. Too peaceful. "Scan the system," Alex said. The results came back quickly. No space traffic, no defense systems active, no satellites broadcasting, just silence. "Too quiet," Alec muttered. "They're hiding something." "We hail them?" "Try." They sent a message. No reply. Again, nothing. "Maybe they're not listening," the officer suggested. "They're listening," Alex said. "They always are." Suddenly the radar lit up. A single blip appeared. New. "Contact 12 o'clock. Approaching fast. Human ship. Unknown, but likely." Alex stepped toward the front window, and then he saw it. A small black vessel. No lights. No weapons visible moved. Toward them in complete silence. Open a channel. No response. Should we power weapons? No, Alex said. Wait. Small ship stopped. It's just a few kilometers from the Varn flagship. It didn't do anything. It just floated, watching again. Send a drone, Alex said. The drone left the ship. It approached the small vessel slowly. They all held their breath. The drone reached the surface of the black ship, then static, gone, same as before. What is this thing? Someone whispered. Then a new signal came in, but not from the ship. From Earth. Encrypted, broadcast old format, the comms officer said. Pre-war human tech. Very old, but somehow still active. Play it. The screen blinked, and a voice came through. Cold. Robotic. But clear. You were warned. You were observed. And now you are inside the line. Alik's jaw clenched. What? Line? No one knew. Then the screen changed. A map of the galaxy appeared. Glowing red circles spread outward from Earth-huge zones, hundreds of systems wide. Each marked human territory. Do not enter? They're claiming all this? The officer asked. They've never claimed anything before, Alex said. Humans don't conquer like we do. They wait. They build. And then they control. The human ship turned slowly and drifted away toward Earth. No weapons. It's no threat. Just a message. Should we follow it? Someone asked. Alec thought for a long moment. Then he shook his head. No. We returned to High Command. But sir, I said no. The bridge went quiet. Alec turned and walked toward his private quarters. He sat down at his desk and pulled up the footage from earlier, the signal, the voice. You are inside the line. He stared at it for a long time. Then he opened a hidden FILA document sealed by the Varn Council. 50 years ago, the file had only one line. If humanity ever goes silent, be afraid. Alec leaned back in his chair. He understood. Now, humans weren't invading. They didn't need to. They had watched the war from the shadows. Let the galaxy burn itself out. Waited until the others were tired, broken, weak, and now they were. Drawing lines, marking territory, making rules. Without firing a shot, the war was over. But the real game, the real power, was just beginning. And this time, humanity wasn't asking permission. The message spread fast across the galaxy. Human space had expanded, but no one knew how or when. There had been no reports, no battles, no trade, just silence. Earth had gone quiet for years. Everyone thought the humans were done, small, weak, disorganized. But now they were everywhere. Commander Alec returned to Varn High Command with the news. The Council watched the intercepted human message again and again. You were warned. You were observed. You were inside the line. The Council. Hall was silent. Are we sure it was real? One elder asked. We are, Alec said. We saw the ship. We received the signal. We scanned the space Earth is not what it used to be. Why didn't we detect the expansion? Because they didn't use ships, Alec answered. At least not ones we understand. There was confusion in the room. One of the scientists stepped forward. She had analyzed the energy patterns near Earth. We found strange disruptions in space, she said. It's like they moved through. Folds. Tunnels. Not normal hyperspace. They're not traveling the way we do. They're bending space without leaving trails. The room stayed quiet. They didn't expand. She continued. They appeared, but how? Another voice asked. Alec's answer was simple. Because they were already there. Across the galaxy, strange events began to happen. On the edge of the break-in system, a mining station went dark. No attack, no signal, no debris. Just silence. The crew was never found. On the trade moon of Kellen 4, security systems recorded something odd. A black shape moved through a sealed corridor without opening doors. When guards arrived, the walls were carved with a spiral symbol. No damage, no sign of entry. The same word appeared again. Observe, then came the silence. Earth still sent no official message, No diplomats, no warnings. But their presence could be felt. Ships began vanishing along certain trade routes, only some routes that passed near old human colonies. The Council demanded a response. They ordered a diplomatic envoy, peace mission. They called it Operation Hollow Bridge. Ambassador Dareth was chosen to lead the mission. He had met humans. Decades ago, before the silence, he remembered them as curious, talkative, fragile, but passionate. He believed he could talk to them again. He left with a crew of 12 and a translator. AI. The ship entered human space under full diplomatic code. No weapons, no scanners, just peaceful signals. As they approached Earth, they passed empty stations. Huge ones. Abandoned, but perfect. Still powered. Still maintained. But no people. No life signs. Only cameras. Watching them? Are they inviting? Us, one crew member asked. No, Dareth said quietly. They're studying us. Finally, they reached orbit above Earth. Blue skies. Clouds. Oceans. It looked like paradise. Too perfect. The ambassador sent a message. This is Dareth of the Varn Council. I come in peace, under council law, to speak to the people of Earth. Number replied he waited an hour past. Then 2. Then, without warning, the ship lost power. No lights. No sound. They weren't falling, but they weren't moving either. The translator AI sparked. Its eyes flickered, and it spoke in a voice that didn't belong to it. You entered the quiet. You will now see. Everyone froze. What does it mean? The pilot whispered. The front window turned black. It's like something had covered it. Then pictures appeared. A recording. Images flashing across the screen. War, fire, galaxies torn apart. Planets burning. But it wasn't the last war. It was before. Long before Right. Time no one remembered. A time when something else ruled the stars. Then the pictures changed. Humans. Walking. Building. Digging. Deep. Deeper than anyone ever should. They found something. They woke something. The message played again. You will now see. A new image appeared. Earth, but not like now. Covered in machines, lights, weapons, then darkness, then Earth as it is today. .com. Clean. Empty. The screen shut off. The ship's power returned. No one spoke. Dareth slowly stood. We need to leave. Back. At Varn High Command, the recording was studied. Broken down frame by frame. What did they mean? The council asked. They're hiding something, said one of the elders. Or protecting something. Commander Alec watched the final image again. Earth, clean and untouched. Hiding a terrible past? He didn't believe the humans had, just found something. He believed they had become something. Or maybe they were something all along and had. It's just been pretending. A new report arrived. The spiral symbol had now appeared on 5 worlds. No attackers. No ships. Just the symbol. A message. Every world marked had one thing in common. They had once ignored human requests during the war. Now they were being reminded. Humans had gone. Quiet. Silent. But silence was not weakness. It was a warning. They were not speaking because they didn't have to anymore, and the rest of the galaxy was finally starting to understand. The war had ended, but the silence that followed is even more dangerous. Darkness stretched across the sector like a veil. 3 Varn ships drifted silently at the edge of a cold, uninhabited system once called Miro's Delta. Once this system had been rich with mining colonies, trade stations, and outposts. Now it was dead. No signs of life, no messages, no debris, just gone. Commander Alec watched the data feed from the lead ship, brow tense. We had 16 settlements in this system, he said. All gone. No trace, no distress beacons, no resistance. The science officer turned pale. We scanned. The asteroid belts. No metals. No organics. It's like every structure was erased. Alec leaned closer. You're saying they weren't destroyed? They were removed? The officer nodded slowly. Exactly. Surgically. Like someone wiped the system clean. A deep, hollow silence filled the bridge. This wasn't war. This was control. The bridge lights dimmed for a moment. Another signal. This time, it wasn't from a human ship. It came from deep space, an old probe thought to be lost over 100 years ago. Its ID number matched one of the first exploration missions during the early Varn human contact era. They brought it aboard. The engineers carefully extracted its memory core. It had been heavily damaged. One message had survived. A video. A shaky, distorted recording of an unknown world. A jungle and human voices. But they weren't speaking any known language. Not English. Not any Earth dialect. It was fast, rhythmic, layered, like voices stacked on top of each other. The audio glitched, then cleared for a few seconds. Don't touch the gate. It's not technology, it's alive. The Earth core isn't sleeping anymore, then silence. Image on the screen showed the jungle shaking violently. The sky darkened, the trees bent in every direction. Then a spiral shape rose above the canopy, burning with red light. The feed ended. Everyone in the room stood still. Commander Alex stared at the screen. Where was this footage taken? The engineer checked the metadata. Coordinates point to an uncharted moon near the edge of the Centauri Rift. No record of it in our maps. The file called it Erebus 3. Alec clenched his jaw. That's human territory now. The spiral had returned, and with it a question that no one in the Varn Council wanted to ask. What had Earth become? Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, on a cold mining moon named Kessel 9, a crew of 8 Varn workers prepared for shutdown. Their final shift, the mine was being closed due to unknown structural risks. No one had explained why. As the last shift ended, the lights flickered. Then the air went cold. Not just chilly wrong. One worker, a young technician named Loris, walked down into Shaft 6 to check a faulty drill sensor. It had been beeping all day. As she moved deeper, her comlink crackled. Loris status. She opened her mouth to reply, then froze. On the wall of the tunnel, someone or something had drawn a spiral in ash. It hadn't been there before. Loris slowly backed away. Her boots scraped on the metal floor, then she heard something, not a voice, not a scream, a breath, right behind. Shh. She turned fast. Nothing. The tunnel was empty, but now the spiral on the wall was glowing. She ran. When the rescue team arrived, ours. Later, they found Shaft 6 collapsed. No sign of Loris, no trace of her equipment, but the spiral. It had been carved inside the rock-solid stone, and it was still warm back on the Varn homeworld. Panic spread. 12 more systems had reported sightings of unknown ships. No weapons. No radio contact. But each left behind the same image burned. Into walls, ceilings, or glass, a spiral, and then silence. All of them had something else in common. Each had once turned away human refugees during the war. Commander. Alex stood before the Varn High Council again. This is not coincidence. He said, this is a pattern. The lead counselor leaned forward. And you believe it's revenge? Alex shook his head. No. Revenge is personal. This is different. This feels like judgment. The room grew tense. Judgment for what? For ignoring them, Alex said quietly. For thinking. They were finished. For assuming the silence meant weakness. Another counselor spoke, more skeptical. They're just marking territory, scaring us into retreat. Alec looked him in the eye. Do you know what I saw when I looked at Earth? The room waited. I saw power, he said, but not the kind you think. No ships, no weapons, no armies, just patience, and something hiding beneath the surface. Something watching. He looked down, and I think they're no longer afraid of being known. Later that night, private transmission reached Alec's personal terminal. It wasn't from high command. It was from an old Varn intelligence officer named Sar Nelong, thought to be retired. The message was short. They're not defending Earth, they're containing it. A set of coordinates followed. The location pointed to deep space, far beyond any known route. A place called Void Sector Zeta, a sector long forbidden. A sector that never appeared on any star map. Alex stared at the screen. Something had changed. The spiral was only the beginning. Whatever humans had found or awakened, they weren't trying to keep it from others anymore. They were trying to show the galaxy, bit by bit, system by system, mark by mark, and soon everyone would see it. The war had ended. But what was coming next had no name. The stars were wrong. That was the first thing the Varn scout ship noticed when it entered Void Sector Zeta. The Coordinates Commander Alec had received lead Hera patch of space with no planets, no stations, no known routes, just empty dark. Except it wasn't. Lieutenant Kor, the lead scout, stared at the view screen. "This isn't on any map," he whispered. "But there are structures out here." Huge shapes floated in the dark. Monoliths, giant black towers, taller than ships, silent. And cold, they didn't move. They didn't shine. They just hovered. "Scans don't read anything," the science officer said. "No power, no radiation, no mass signature." "But they're there," Kor replied. Another voice, trembling. "They're older than anything we've seen." One of the towers had markings, simple carvings etched into smooth metal. A spiral. The crew stared at it in silence. Then the comms panel lit up. A signal, old human, barely holding together. They boosted it, cleaned it. A voice came through, broken, fading, but real. "Shouldn't have come here." The crew went cold. Kor leaned forward. "Can you trace the source?" The engineer pointed. "About 500 clicks off, near one of the largest towers." They moved closer, engines low. As they neared the tower, they saw it. A ship, small, wrecked, old Earth design. The letters on its hull were faded, but readable: UN's Ascendant Dawn. Ship had vanished almost 50 years ago, long before Earth went silent. "No life signs," someone said. Kor and two others boarded it. The inside was frozen. Dust floated in the still air. The lights flickered dimly. They reached the bridge. Everything was dead, except the captain's log, KORR. Wiped the dust from the console and played the last recording. A human officer appeared, gaunt, pale, tired. His voice was hoarse. "If anyone finds this, it's too late. We thought it was a relic, some pre-human artifact, buried under Antarctica. It wasn't, it was watching." He coughed hard, blood on his hand. "We brought it here, tried to hide it, study it. But it opened something." "But Dora mind? I don't know. We weren't supposed to look." He leaned in close to the camera. "It's not alien, it's human. Just not anymore." The log ended. The ship began to shake. "Double quotes, Commander. Get out of there." The voice from the scout ship yelled. The towers were waking up. Their surfaces pulsed. A low hum-filled space. The crew scrambled back to the shuttle as they left the derelict ship. The nearest tower turned slowly following them. A single light blinked at its center, watching the scout ship jump to hyperspace. Before anything else could happen, but the message had been clear. Humans had found something. Ancients inside themselves. Something they buried. Something that waited. And when the stars aligned, they moved it off Earth, out here to the dark to contain it, back at Varn High Command. The news spread like wildfire. The footage, the message, tower. The council demanded answers. Alex stood in front of them once more. "This is not an invasion," he said. "This is a warning. Humans didn't leave the galaxy. They just went somewhere else. Somewhere deeper." One of the elders shouted, "Are you saying they're hiding a weapon?" Alex's voice was low, calm, cold. "No, I think They're hiding themselves. He played the last line of the recording again. It's not alien. It's human, just not anymore. The room went still. That line would haunt every council member from that moment on. A quiet understanding began to form. Earth was no longer the center. It was a seal, and humans, at least some of them, had crossed. A line they had changed, and they were letting the galaxy know, one spiral at a time. In the outer rim, a small scientific research station received an anonymous delivery. No ship, no signature, just a black box floating outside their airlock. Inside was a device, simple, old, and a message written in ancient Terran English. Play this when the stars fall out of line. They didn't understand. Not yet, but across the stars. More boxes would appear on stations, on colonies, on warships, and soon the message would become clear. The war didn't end. It just evolved, and humanity had become something else entirely. The box sat on the table, unmoving. No seams, no buttons, just smooth black metal, cold even in the warmth of the station. Dr. Elari stared at it. She was the lead Xenotech analyst aboard Station Miros, orbiting the dead world of Vask Prime, one of the last places where humans had fought during the Great War. Now it was just a memory. The box had appeared hours ago. No ship, no sound. There, and carved into its surface, deep and precise, play this when the stars fall out of line. Ilari turned to her assistant. The phrase makes no sense. The stars haven't moved. Her assistant frowned. Actually, they have. He pulled up the latest navigation scans. One of the distant constellations, a small, insignificant grouping of suns called Ravik Cluster, had shifted. Only slightly, but it was impossible. Stars don't move like that. Not on their own. Not that fast. Ilari whispered, "That's not natural." "No," the assistant replied. And this box arrived exactly when the data changed. She stared at it again. It was like a key. But a key to what? She tapped it gently. Nothing happened. Then she said aloud, "The stars are out of line." The room dimmed. The lights didn't flicker. They dimmed on purpose. The box clicked. Hidden panel slid open. Inside, a crystal disc hovering above, a metal base. It began to glow and project. A hologram flickered to life. A man, human, pale, bald, wearing no military uniform. Just a smooth gray suit with no insignia. He looked calm, empty, and then he spoke. "By the time you see this, we will have completed the quiet expansion." The voice was steady, emotionless. "We did not conquer. We did not demand. We simply arrived." He raised a hand, because we were already here. The projection shifted, showing stars, thousands of systems, with red spirals pulsing across them. "These are not warnings," he said. "They are reminders. You were told to observe. Some did. Some did not." Another pause. "Now you will. Understand why we stopped speaking." Flash. An image of Earth. But beneath its surface, deep tunnels, dark machines, and something. Alive, moving slowly, breathing. "We found it under the old ice. It was not a machine. It was a thought." Ilari leaned forward. The figure continued. "It is not alien. It is not divine. It is what we could become if we leave behind everything." That made us slow, fearful, weak. The image changed again. It now showed humans, but not like before. Eyes glowing. Minds connected. Silent. Moving in perfect sync. "We left the war," the man said, "because war is noise, chaos, waste." He smiled faintly. "We are not at war anymore." Then his eyes looked straight into the camera. "You are." The image collapsed into static. The box shut itself. Ilari stepped back, breathing fast. Her assistant swallowed hard. "Psst. That real?" She looked at him. "Yes." In the Varn capital, alarms were sounding. 6 core worlds had gone dark in the same hour. No signals, no explosions, just silence. Counselor Herrick stood beside Commander Alec, watching the reports. "Come in." They didn't fire a single shot, Herrick muttered. We would have seen weapons signatures. Alec nodded slowly. They didn't destroy those systems. Then what happened? It took them out of reach. The counselor stared. You mean cloaking? Alec shook his head. Oh, I mean they moved them. The science officer confirmed it. The gravitational readings around the systems had changed. They had been relocated like pieces on a board. Somehow the humans had taken entire star systems and hidden them inside folds of space no one had. Ever mapped? The council met in secret? What do they want? One asked. Nothing, another replied. They haven't asked for anything. Then why mark our systems with spirals? Alec's answer was quiet. To give us time. Time for what? Stared at the galaxy map. To decide what kind of beings we want to be. Back in deep space, aboard the Ardent Shield, the Varn exploratory ship near the Centauri Rift, strange readings lit up the scanners. Commander Tevel, a war veteran, studied the data. Something's unfolding in the rift, her navigator said. A structure, massive. The rift was a region known for gravitational turbulence. No one traveled there. But now, something was opening inside it. A black shape emerged from the fold, smooth, silent, the size of a small moon. No weapons, no lights, just a slow, calm presence. As it passed, the stars around it dimmed, then realigned, rearranged. A single message echoed in every SCI known language through space. We are not your enemy. You are your own, Commander Tevel whispered. What is it? Hercom's officer answered. We don't know. But it's broadcasting a signature. Earthborn. The crew stood in silence. The galaxy had thought Earth was quiet. But now it was clear. The silence had been work. They had been building, not a fleet, but a future. And now that future had arrived not with war, but with a mirror, to show the galaxy what it had become, and what it still could be if it dared to change, or if it chose not to vanish one world at a time. The mirror arrived in orbit without warning. It wasn't a weapon. It didn't fire. It didn't move. It simply hovered. A flat silver disk miles wide, perfectly still, positioned above the Varn colony of Juno Vex. At first, the colonists thought it was some kind of probe. No broadcasts, no emissions, just silence. Then the reflection changed. One by one, the people of Juno Vex looked up and, instead of seeing their world reflected in the mirror's surface, they saw something else. Earth. Not the Earth they remembered from war reports or old records. This one was wrong. It glowed faintly red. The clouds moved too fast. The oceans churned. The continents had shifted. Dark lines spread across the surface like roots or veins, pulsing with light. The colony's governor demanded answers. Mir gave none, but at night it broadcast dreams. People across the colony began to have the same visions. A dark sea, voice humming in tones, not words, spiral turning inside the mind. Then a flash of understanding and fear. The dreams weren't nightmares, they were memories. Memories of something buried long ago. Before ships, before cities, before even language. It was human, yes, but barely. It had been asleep, forgotten, locked away under miles of ice and history, till the wars broke everything open, until someone dug too deep. On the far side of the galaxy, Commander Alec met with the one being who might still understand Earth. Her name was Dr. Kalin, former human ambassador to the Varn before Earth's silence. She'd chosen exile instead of returning home when the quiet expansion began. Now she lived alone on a moon of frozen storms, surrounded by books and long-dead satellites. She was older now, thinner, wiser, and afraid. They didn't leave because they wanted peace, she told Alec. They left because they had to change. Alec frowned. Change into what? She looked up, eyes glassy. Into what they were always meant to be. She placed a small device on the table. It flickered, then projected a spiral. Same symbol that had appeared on countless destroyed colonies. Do you know what this is? She asked. A warning. She shook her head. No, a filter. He didn't understand, she explained. It marks a place, then waits. Watches. If what's inside it chooses chaos, fear, domination, it collapses. If it changes, grows, listens, it survives. Sometimes it's even welcomed. Lick stared at her, stunned. You're saying the humans are testing us? No. Not just us. Everyone. She leaned forward. They didn't win the war. They just realized it was too small. And so they're building a new Galaxy 1 system at a time. Quietly. Without force. Without permission. And if we resist? Her answer was calm. You disappear. Back on Junovex, the spiral appeared in the sky. No one knew how. It just formed out of clouds, light and shadow, rotating slowly above the mirror. Everyone saw it. Children screamed. Soldiers stood silent. A day later, every electronic system failed. The planet didn't go dark. It went still. No power, no motion, even gravity felt. Delayed like time itself was waiting. Then, from the center of the mirror, a second disk descended. It hovered just above the capital. Shape emerged. Tall, thin, not armored, but not soft. No weapons, no insignia, just human. And not. Its eyes were full of light like suns. Its voice was wind and metal. You built cities to survive. You built fleets to fight. Built governments to control. Paused. We built none of those. The figure walked slowly down the air. Touching the ground without a sound, we unlearned war. We unlearned fear. We returned to the beginning. No one spoke. No one could. The figure turned its head to the sky. When the ice broke, we remembered. It raised one hand, and the spiral in the sky stopped spinning. You are not being punished, it said. You are being seen. And with that, it disappeared. So did the mirrors.
And every colony that had tried to resist their presence, across the galaxy, panic spread. Governments called it a new form
Of warfare, religions called it ascension. But one thing became clear to every species. Earth had not fallen. Earth had risen. And it was looking down on everyone else, not with rage or hunger or vengeance, but with judgment. Now the final question loomed in the stars. Who would be chosen? And who would be forgotten? The spiral kept turning. And the last message had yet to come. The galaxy waited in silence, in fear, in awe. Every species, every empire, every distant colony watched the stars and the spirals and wondered, what would the humans do next? The answer came, quietly, not with ships, not with war, but with a broadcast, a single message transmitted on every frequency, translated into every known language, sent across every corner of space. No code, no encryption, just a voice.com. Human. This is the final offering. Across thousands of systems, the spiral symbol lit upon moons, on stations, on drifting satellites long thought dead. They all pulsed once, and the voice returned. You fought us. You feared us. You buried what you didn't understand. Pause. But we were never your enemy. A flash of stars. A slow drift of images across the screen. Earth. Long ago, green and blue. Then Earth now changed. Powerful. Silent. You made war. More images, burning cities, space battles, graveyards of starships, we remembered. Machines under ice, symbols carved into bones, a spiral turning beneath oceans, and we changed. Then finally, a message. Now you must choose. In a remote system near the edge of Varn space, a small moon opened. Literally, a crack split. Across its surface, light spilled out, and a structure rose. A perfect black obelisk. No doors. No windows, but it pulsed with that same spiral pattern. The Varn sent a scout team. The team never returned, but they weren't dead. They simply weren't on any scanner anymore, gone without trace. Then a single word was transmitted from the obelisk. Willing. Commander. Alex stood before the High Council behind him. Screens showed images of spirals appearing in unexpected places inside DNA sequences. In the orbits of moons, in the energy patterns of stars themselves. They're not invading, he said. Again. They're inviting us to what? One elder asked to evolve. No one spoke. He continued. The humans didn't abandon us. They outgrew us. They became something beyond nations, species, even bodies. Another elder shook her head. This isn't peace. It's domination. No, Alex said. It's a test. A test of what? Our willingness to let go of fear. He tapped a button. A new transmission played. It showed a fleet. Human ships, but not like the old war machines. These were quiet, fluid, built from materials that shimmered like starlight, and they weren't attacking. They were gathering around planets marked with spirals, one by one. Those planets disappeared from the galactic map, not destroyed, absorbed into something else. A new space, a new order. A new galaxy. On one of the last untouched colony worlds, Kira Savannah Child stood in a wheat field, staring at the sky. Her parents were inside, afraid, like most, but she wasn't. She saw the spiral above, gentle, slow, glowing faintly in the blue sky. It made her smile. She raised her hand, waved at it. The spiral flickered just once, like it saw her. Then something whispered in her mind. You are ready. The wheat around her shifted, not from wind, but from gravity. A circle formed in the field, and from it, a single flower bloomed glowing white. She picked it. It didn't wilt. Back on Earth, deep, under what used to be Antarctica machines. Slowed. Lights dimmed. The great mind slept again. Its work was almost complete. The human race had done the unthinkable, not by conquering, but by becoming something too deep to fight, too quiet to hear, too patient to stop. One by one, species across the galaxy faced the spiral. Some embraced it, others disappeared. The galaxy changed, not in fire, but in shape, in thought, in meaning. And in the end, only one truth remained. The war was never about weapons. It was about what comes after. Humanity found the answer and left the door open for anyone willing to walk through it. The spiral kept turning, and the galaxy was watching always.